It's a sunny Sunday morning, and I'm about to head out for run number 8. Couch to 5K run number 8. So this will be week 3, run 2 of the program. So we're 8 runs in now, and I'm really starting to get a real sense of enjoyment from running, and I'm really starting to feel like a runner now, having been out there 8 times already, being number 8 today. I am sort of forging the identity of being a runner now. This is now part of who I am. And on this run today, I was, at the time I'm recording this, it's a few days after, but I went for this run on a Sunday morning and it was very sunny. I had a good night's sleep. I felt upbeat and I felt really ready to run on this particular day. But what I will say is, despite those sort of positive feelings and emotions, things got tough straight away, and I sort of felt this mental block on this run. And I'm not entirely sure why, because I just mentioned all those factors of feeling great, having a good night's sleep, feeling upbeat and ready to run. It's a sunny Sunday morning, there's not many people out, it's quiet, the roads, so many cars on the road, don't really have to worry about my surroundings too much. But something just didn't feel right, and I guess that can happen from time to time, but with all those things I mentioned being sort of in my favour, I start to think, what was the problem? So this sort of mental block, I'm not sure where it came from, but I just had this sort of underlying feeling that I didn't really want to run on this day. It might be fatigue from other days, or just having been consistent for like 7, 8 runs in total now. My body starts feeling it a little bit. Maybe I needed an extra day of recovery, but I don't know if that's the case really. I think my sort of mind may have just not been in the right headspace, but I had the energy and was well rested enough to go out for this run, so I went for it anyway. It could have been a matter of fatigue. If I had to pinpoint the sort of reason for me feeling like I didn't want to run despite all those sort of positive things I mentioned, I would say that maybe my mind wasn't aligned with my body. So my mind, or my head even, just wasn't in the sort, didn't really be accustomed to the idea of running, but my body was ready to run. It's been well rested and I had the energy to go out and do so. It's just that my head was telling me no. And there are days where that's going to happen. You just gotta say, I think the phrase is mind over matter. So sometimes you're going to have those kind of emotions and you just gotta put them to one side and remember, if you've got a mission, you've got a goal you've got an objective, go out and ensure that you complete it for the day. And it goes to show that your feelings prior to doing exercise doesn't necessarily correlate to how well you're going to perform in that particular activity. So one instance I can say from personal experience, this is aside from running, this is when I hit the gym. When I have feelings of like, how best to describe this, you have feelings where you genuinely can't be bothered to go, you're just tired, you feel lethargic, but you end up going anyway. What I found is that there's been some instances where I felt super tired, unmotivated, and then I got in the gym, started doing my first few sets, a couple of repetitions, pumping a bit of weight, and all of a sudden, once I finished the workout, I feel great. Or that workout in particular went really well, despite how I felt beforehand. And I think this happened with my run on this run particularly run number 8. I felt like really good to start with, but the run itself wasn't particularly great, like with how I felt during the run, even though I had a good night's sleep, I was well rested, and the run just didn't feel great in my opinion. Performance-wise, it hasn't been one of my best runs, but if you look at the statistics I'll throw up later in the video, I believe it's one of my quickest runs so far. If you look at like the pacing and the time per kilometer, I think it's one of the quickest so far. So I'm not sure what to make of that. One thing I can say is that I showed a certain amount of resilience to keep pushing despite those feelings of not wanting to run and just getting out there and making sure I stay committed and consistent with the program all the way through. So just reflecting on where I am at the moment, I felt like I've showed good levels of progress. Now being 8 runs in, I think I've been able to maintain a good level of consistency. I'm going to be honest and say the program recommends you to run 3 times in a week. I, at the moment, only go for 2 runs in a week. It's just because I have to balance sort of working and also running on the side and also hitting the gym, and trying to do all those simultaneously is very difficult. So finding the time to run in a packed week is challenging, but I do try and make the time for it because it's something I've said to myself that I wanted to do for a while and make sure I see it all the way through. So at the moment I'm averaging about 2 runs a week, but I am going to try and push that up to the recommended 3 times a week so I can get a few more runs in every single week and just get to that target of 3 runs in a week and ensure that I see the program all the way to the end. So just to wrap things up, for the running structure, absolutely nothing's changed from run number 7. Everything stays completely the same. There'll be a picture on screen that will show the split of running and walking, including the warm-up and the cool-down. Nothing will change within this week 3 block. You will do 3 repetitions of the same run. The idea is you want to sort of build up that consistency, build your stamina, and get comfortable running at this particular sort of volume now. As the sort of intensity ramps up throughout the weeks of the program, you want to ensure that you're comfortable running for a sustained period of time. Now, as the running blocks are starting to get a little bit longer now, the point of the repetitions is to ensure you're comfortable enough to do these runs without any pain or discomfort and not be completely cast out by the end of it. If you are, then I would suggest maybe going over the runs again, or maybe taking an extra day's rest or taking water with you out on your runs. You want to feel like you've got energy in reserve at the end of your runs. At that point, you will know that you're comfortable with this particular run, and then you can progress onto the next one and move in, move out, move in. You want to move up through the weeks, start to run for a little bit longer. So just to wrap things up, I'm going to throw a quick screenshot from Strava, which will show my statistics from the run and all the little details that come with it. And one thing I will note is I'm going to try a little experiment in my upcoming run. This will be run number 1. This will be run number 9, which will be week 3, run 3. And what I'll do for this one is I'm going to try something I don't think I've ever done before, and that's to run without music. I'm just intrigued to see whether or not my performance will be impacted in any way, or whether I am completely fine without music, because on all these runs so far, I've always had my headphones and music playing on every single run, so I just wanted to see how different is it running with music versus without music. So that's all I've got to say, and I'll see you in the next run.